Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I decided to make a ship design for a house, so like a starter base. I was recently inspired by Trixie Blox's recent video in which he made a ship in a bottle, and decided to sort of emulate that, except outside and on a beach. So I started off here by making a small dock, putting some fences along the side as decoration and guardrails, and then I just started building the basic rough edges of the boat. So after that, I started focusing on making the helm, in which I put a lantern just for a little bit of lighting and a little glow effect. Also put some trapdoors to create a little bit of a sort of battering ram sort of design, just so in case you hit an iceberg or something, you'd be protected. So I went around a couple of times, making the hull a little bit larger as I got to the top gradually, and then tapered off at the end. Made a couple of edits just to the overall shape of the design, and decided that I wanted to make a little bit of a steeper hull so that it would be a little bit more of a pointier front end instead of a little bit more of just a blocky texture. So after a couple of renditions of that, I was satisfied with the current slope of the boat and started working on the mast. At first I opted for a spruce log mast, and I felt that this would be okay, and I started building the sail, but I decided that after a first look at this, I wanted to go for a much thinner mast because I wanted this to be a small sailboat. So as you can see, I was building the first version of the mast using some banners and carpet, but I decided to switch to a pole. And then afterwards I decided to switch to a different type of sail and tried doing a more sailor or a sailboat type of sail. It took me a couple of tries to get the sail design right, but I did end up changing the entire design of the boat and putting the mast in the front instead of in the back. Using some trapdoors, I made a small lookout tower at the top of the mast, and ended up putting a smaller mast in the back of the boat to have a secondary sail on it. After that, I decided to start focusing on the bottom and patch up the small holes I had in the hull of the boat, and then I ended up draining out the water with some sponge at the end of this. So after that, I ended up trying to work on the sail one more time, or adding some furnishings along the way, adding a standard smoker and blast furnace at the end of this, a couple of logs here and there, and then I started putting a steering wheel. So I opted to do a steering wheel made of planks and a fence in the middle. I tried putting a trapdoor at the bottom and seeing how that would work out, but it ended up not looking right, so I just opted for the trapdoors on 3 of the sides of the fence, and then I put a stone slab for the captain to stand on. I put a grindstone and a anvil for all your enchanting needs, and I also opted to change the central log design into a crafting table. After that, I decided to put some stairs along the sides to break up the blocky edges a little bit so that it would look a little bit smoother. And then after finishing that, I decided to head on downstairs and finish the interior of the boat. After this, I opted to change the sides of the boats to barrels so that you would have enough storage space for all your items. And then I also opted to put a blue bed in and add some windows along the side to let in some natural light. After that, I added a lantern to light up the room a little bit, a clock, as well as a flower pot. After that, I headed up to the top of the boat again to finish off the second part of the boat, which was the docking port. So I ended up making the port a little bit longer and putting 2 more supports down on the sides and just extending the overall design. And after which I decided to opt for a fireplace sort of bridge across the water. So this is a common design in 1.14 that a lot of builders opt to use just because it looks quite nice. It's a little bit more detailed than just using slabs or staircases. So that's what I opted to do. Took me a couple of tries to get the design right, and ended up having to use a slab since you cannot place fireplace half slabs on the sides there. So, or campfire, sorry. After that, I decided to put some more fences along the side to make sure that it was a little bit more secure so you wouldn't fall into the water haphazardly. And then I decided to give the sail posts a similar bridge, so if you did have to run maintenance on your sails, you could do so easily across the same bridge. So it took me a couple of tries to get the fires out, just because I'm not super experienced at these kinds of bridges and stuff, so you can see me mess up there. But overall, I was pretty satisfied with the design of the bridge at the end. After I finished that, I decided to give the sails another shot and try redoing them. So again, I opted for the similar sailboat design, but I decided to go with a more triangular version of the sail. So instead of taking a more sloped approach, I decided to make it a little bit more triangular, as you'll see in a second. So pretty much a linear slope down there. And then I decided to put a fence and trim down the hull a little bit so that there would be a little bit more, or it would be a little easier to see over the edge of the boat. Using a banner and similar carpet design, I decided to furnish that with a little bit of a more cleaner design there. After I had finished that, I decided to put on the secondary mast using a similar design as I'd done with the first. Just made a couple of edits here, just fixing small design thing. So I designed it to opt with the banner and carpet design at the end, using the fence posts as sort of rivets to hold the sails in place. Put a blue flag on top for the ship, and decided to finish off the design by making the port. So I created a small staircase at the end here, which wrapped around to the side. And then I finished that by adding a path through the sand and the grass to get to the port using gravel, sandstone, and shovel, which I just made the normal village paths. And with that, it was done. So that was my build for the ship design. After adding a couple of finishing changes here, I'll show you guys the final design with the cinematic. you guys did end up enjoying the video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribing. This is my first video on this new channel, and I hope to make many more like this one. Thanks, and see you in the next one.